This is why he comes back after he left you. Life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. We encounter moments of heartbreak, disappointment, and loss that make us question everything. You may have been in a relationship, a partnership, or a situation where someone left you, and maybe, just maybe, you're wondering why they came back after they walked away. Let me tell you something. It's not about them. It's about you. You see, when someone leaves, it often has less to do with you and more to do with where they are in their life. It's not always a reflection of your worth or value. It's a reflection of their internal struggles, their fears, or their own personal growth journey that they haven't fully understood. And when they come back, it's because they've recognized something within themselves that they couldn't see before. They realize they were searching for something outside of themselves when in reality what they needed was already within them. It's like a person who's been walking through a desert, parched, desperate, looking for water, but after they've wandered for a while, they suddenly realize, I've been carrying my own water all along. People come back not because they necessarily miss you, but because they've had the time to reflect. They've had the space to grow, and in that growth, they understand what was lacking in themselves, not you. And that's where the magic happens. When they come back with a new sense of self-awareness, clarity, and hopefully a deeper respect for you. But here's the truth. When they return, it's not just about reuniting with you. It's about them coming back to a version of themselves they thought they had lost. So you must ask yourself, what version of yourself will you be when they return? Because it's not about waiting for someone to come back and validate you. It's about realizing that your life continues to unfold, your growth is ongoing, and that you do not need anyone to define your worth. When they return, you should be in a position of strength, clarity, and purpose. Understand this. The reason someone comes back is because they're drawn to your energy. They want what you have, peace, stability, and a sense of self that doesn't depend on them or anyone else. They come back because they see you standing tall, no longer waiting, no longer desperate, no longer giving away your power. They come back because they see you living your truth. Now, when they return, the choice is yours. You can accept them back, but you must be sure that you're accepting them from a place of strength, not from a place of longing. Know your worth. Know that you don't need anyone to complete you, and that if they return, it's not because you've changed who you are. It's because you've remained true to who you were always meant to be. So don't wait for someone else's return to validate your value. The greatest comeback story is not theirs, it's yours. It's the journey you take to reclaim your life, your strength, and your power. It's about being so aligned with your purpose that the universe brings you back together, not because you need them, but because you become the person who radiates enough strength to attract what you deserve. When someone leaves, it's easy to internalize their departure as a reflection of our own inadequacies. We often think it's because we weren't good enough, that we failed in some way, or that we somehow weren't deserving of their love, respect, or attention. But in reality, their decision to leave often has very little to do with us personally. It's more about where they are in their own lives, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, and where they need to grow. People leave for reasons tied to their own fears, desires, confusion, or self-perception that may not even be related to how they see you. It's important to understand that someone leaving doesn't mean you're not worthy. Their departure is not a mirror of your value, but rather a reflection of what they are going through internally. People often leave because they are searching for something they believe they need, but the truth is, it's usually not about you at all. It could be that they were uncertain about who they are, or where they're going in life. It could be that they are running away from their own unresolved issues, or trying to figure out what they truly want, and in that process, they didn't know how to make room for you. This period of separation is not just about distance between two people. It's a time for reflection and growth. While they are away, they may start to realize that what they were searching for outside of themselves was something they already had deep inside. Often people wander, whether physically, emotionally, or spiritually, because they feel incomplete or lost. They think they need someone else to fix them or make them whole, but ultimately the journey is one of self-discovery, and during this time apart, they may begin to understand that they are the ones who need to change or develop before they can truly contribute to another person's life in a healthy and meaningful way. When they come back, it's not because you did something different or changed who you were. It's because they've changed their perspective. The space between you two allows them to see more clearly. They may have gone through their own personal struggles, facing fears or challenges they couldn't confront when they were with you. Now, with a bit of distance, they've come to realize that what they were missing wasn't something you could give them. It was something they needed to find in themselves. In this moment of clarity, they see that they were projecting their dissatisfaction or confusion onto the relationship, when in truth the issues were within themselves all along. The reason they return is often because they finally realized that the solution was never about seeking approval or fulfillment from someone else. The solution lies in growth and understanding themselves, acknowledging their own fears and becoming more in tune with their own needs and desires. They've gained a new self-awareness. This growth isn't something you caused, nor is it something you can take credit for. It's a personal breakthrough that they had to experience on their own. And when they return, they may be looking for the opportunity to share this new understanding, to create a different kind of connection, one that is more balanced, healthier, and rooted in mutual growth rather than dependency or neediness. It's crucial to recognize that the real power in this situation lies not in their return, but in what their return signifies. It reflects that they are seeking a new chapter of growth, not just in the relationship, but in themselves. And while it can feel like a validation of your worth, it's more about their journey of self-discovery, and you just happen to be part of that larger process. When someone leaves, it's easy to fall into the belief that the relationship was somehow lacking, that something was missing, or that you didn't do enough to keep things together. The truth, however, is that the departure of a person is often a result of their own internal conflicts, personal growth, or lack of self-awareness at that moment in time. Sometimes people leave because they're not ready to confront their own issues, or they don't yet fully understand what they need from a relationship. It's not so much about who you are or what you did, it's more about where they are in their journey. And when they return, it's typically not just about coming back to you, it's about returning to a better, clearer version of themselves. The time apart allows them the space to reflect, to learn more about who they are, and to understand their own fears, desires, and limitations. Many people leave because they are caught up in confusion about their life's direction. They might be struggling with their own identity or what they want out of life. In these moments of uncertainty, relationships sometimes become a projection of their internal chaos. They can't give to you or the relationship in a meaningful way because they're still figuring out how to give to themselves. When they leave, they're not necessarily running away from you. They're running away from their own discomfort, and they're trying to find clarity in their own path. They're often not even aware of this at the time because they're consumed with their own internal struggles. When they return, it's a signal that they've taken the time to reflect and have grown as individuals. The time away from you has given them the space to see things more clearly and to work on their personal issues. It's like someone who's been driving a car without realizing their brakes were failing. They may have been too caught up in the rush, too focused on external distractions to notice that something was wrong. But once they stop, take a break, and examine the situation, they realize that the problem wasn't the road they were on, it was their own vehicle. And when they return to the relationship, they bring with them a newfound understanding of what went wrong, what they need, and what they're ready to contribute. This return is not just about fixing what was broken in the relationship. It's about coming back with a greater level of self-awareness. It's about them understanding that they were not in the right mindset before. They now realize that the difficulties they faced in the relationship were not because of you, but because they hadn't fully figured themselves out. They were not yet in a place where they could give or receive love in a healthy, balanced way. So when they come back, it's often because they've grown, they've shifted their perspective, and they now feel more confident in their ability to show up for the relationship in a way that's aligned with their own personal development. However, this does not mean that they have completely changed, that they have it all figured out. The truth is that growth is a process, and when they come back, they are still a work in progress, just as you are. Their return is often a reflection of them starting to come to terms with who they are and what they need from others, but it doesn't mean they're entirely free of their past baggage. What's important to realize is that their return is not about you fulfilling some missing part of their life. It's about them coming back to themselves and recognizing that they can now offer something healthier and more aligned with who they've become through their own personal journey. When they return, it's crucial to understand that the process of growth that they underwent wasn't just about them learning how to be with you, but about them learning how to be with themselves. They've done the work to understand their own fears, insecurities, and limitations. They now have the self-awareness to see how their previous actions and decisions were influenced by their own internal conflicts, and they're now in a better place to be open to a relationship that can thrive. They're not coming back because they need you to fix them. They're coming back because they're beginning to understand that the key to their own fulfillment and growth lies within themselves, and you just happen to be part of the picture. In essence, their return signifies not just a reunion, but a personal evolution. They've grown, they've learned, and they've transformed. And if they're coming back, it's because they now see the relationship through a new lens, one that is free of the confusion and uncertainty that led them to leave in the first place. This return, while it may feel like a validation of the relationship or your worth, is actually a result of their journey toward a better, more self-aware version of themselves. It's not about them simply coming back to you. It's about them coming back to who they were always meant to be and bringing that new version of themselves into a relationship with you. When someone leaves and later returns, it's easy to get caught up in the emotional rush of it all. The initial reaction might be one of relief or excitement. After all, someone who walked away is now coming back, and it can feel like a second chance, an opportunity to fix what was once broken. But here's where the true power lies, the strength you gain through your own growth during their absence. This time apart should not just be about waiting for their return, but about embracing the chance to focus on yourself and your own development. While they were gone, you had the chance to create space in your life for self-reflection, healing, and personal evolution. It's important to realize that growth doesn't depend on someone else's actions. Whether or not they return, your life continues to unfold, and your own progress doesn't rely on the validation or decisions of others. It's easy to get lost in the idea of waiting for someone to come back, thinking that their return will somehow validate your worth or prove that you were right all along. However, true power comes from realizing that you don't need anyone to complete you or to make you feel whole. During the time apart, you've likely experienced a transformation of your own. Maybe you've rediscovered passions, focused on your career, or worked through your own personal challenges. Perhaps you've become stronger emotionally, learning to set boundaries, or finally realizing the importance of self-love and self-care. These shifts are a reflection of the inner work you've been doing, work that doesn't depend on whether or not they come back, but work that strengthens who you are as a person. This personal growth should be celebrated because it proves that your happiness, self-worth, and sense of purpose don't hinge on another person's actions. When they come back, you should not only consider how they've changed, but also how you've evolved. The key here is to evaluate your own growth and the place you're at in your life. Are you in a position of strength and emotional balance? Are you no longer looking for external validation from others to confirm your value? Are you happy and fulfilled on your own and independent of anyone else? These are important questions to ask yourself before allowing someone back into your life, especially someone who left in the first place. If you've done the work to grow stronger, then their return should not throw you off balance. It should not send you into a frenzy of insecurity or desperation. The truth is, the more grounded you are in your own power, the more you can approach the situation with clarity. You can make decisions from a place of self-respect rather than fear, desperation, or longing. If you've spent time cultivating inner peace and confidence, the idea of someone coming back will not create the same emotional turmoil it once might have. It's essential to realize that the goal is not to be whole or complete because of someone else's return. Rather, it's about approaching the situation from a space where you are already complete, strong, and secure. If someone does come back into your life, it should be because they are aligning with the person you've become, not because you are hoping they'll fix something or make you feel better about yourself. You should never be in a position where you are seeking to fulfill an emotional void with their presence. If they return, it should be because you are both capable of offering something positive and meaningful to each other. A huge part of growth during this time apart is learning not to cling to the past. This period of separation has likely given you an opportunity to reflect on what worked, what didn't, and what you want from a relationship moving forward. It's easy to fall into the trap of nostalgia, remembering the good moments and believing that the relationship could be the same as it once was. But the reality is that people change and situations evolve. The person you were when they left is not the same person you are today. Similarly, they are also different from who they were when they walked away. So when they return, the question to ask yourself is not just about the dynamic of your past relationship. It's about whether or not the new version of you is ready for this new version of them. True strength comes from standing firm in your own sense of self-worth, regardless of whether or not they come back. When they do, you should be able to assess the situation without feeling desperate or overly emotional. You should be able to decide whether or not their return aligns with the person you've grown into, and whether or not it supports the life you're now building. If you've truly done the work on yourself, the decision to accept them back or not will come from a place of emotional maturity and clarity rather than the fear of being alone or incomplete. Ultimately, growth during their absence is not about waiting for someone to return to fill a void. It's about becoming so strong, secure, and fulfilled on your own that if they do return, they are coming back to someone who has already found their own strength and purpose. When someone leaves and later returns, it's important to understand that their return isn't necessarily because they found something missing in you or the relationship. It's because of the energy you project and the changes you've made in your life during the time apart. One of the most powerful things you can do during a separation is focus on yourself, finding your inner strength, peace, and purpose. When you do this, you cultivate an energy that naturally attracts people to you, including someone who may have once left. This energy isn't about being perfect or having it all together. It's about being aligned with your true self, comfortable in your own skin, and not relying on anyone else to fulfill you. People are often drawn to others based on the energy they radiate. This isn't a superficial attraction. It's deeper than that. It's the energy of self-respect, confidence, emotional stability. and self-sufficiency. The more you cultivate this energy, the more others will feel it, and they will naturally be attracted to it. In the case of someone returning after they've left, it's usually because they are subconsciously drawn to the new energy you've created within yourself. This attraction is not about them needing you or being dependent on you, but rather about them seeing you as someone who is evolved, someone who is emotionally self-sufficient, and someone who isn't chasing after external validation. It's about recognizing your strength, and in turn, they are drawn to that strength. While they were gone, you didn't sit idle waiting for them to return. Instead, you focused on becoming the best version of yourself. Maybe you worked on your physical health, pursued new passions, improved your career, or developed a stronger sense of independence. You may have built deeper connections with friends and family, or perhaps you found a sense of inner peace and self-love that you didn't have before. These changes don't just impact you, they affect the way others perceive you. When someone sees that you are thriving and evolving without them, they begin to recognize that you are no longer the person they left behind. You are stronger, more confident, more capable of standing on your own 2 feet. This transformation can trigger a sense of admiration and respect, which may prompt them to return. They feel the shift in your energy and realize that in some way they were drawn to that power. The energy you project during this time apart isn't just about attracting others, it's also about creating a sense of balance and stability within yourself. When you're emotionally stable and confident, you become less reactive and more discerning about the people who come into your life. You no longer feel the need to chase after validation, attention, or affection from others. Your energy becomes magnetic because it's no longer needy or desperate. It's grounded and authentic. People are drawn to this authenticity. They are drawn to the person who knows their worth, who doesn't rely on others to define them. And when someone returns after realizing this in you, it's because they recognize that your worth is no longer tied to their actions. They see someone who is whole, not someone who needs fixing. What's essential to understand here is that the energy you create within yourself doesn't just attract people who are emotionally available and aligned with your growth. It also serves as a signal to others that you are not available for unhealthy dynamics. When someone returns after they've seen this shift in you, they are confronted with the person you have become. You are no longer the person who will tolerate being treated poorly, waiting in uncertainty, or being dependent on someone else for validation. Your energy now speaks volumes, and it says that you value yourself too much to settle for anything less than what you deserve. This new energy doesn't just attract people back, it sets boundaries. It teaches others how to treat you. The person who returns now has to meet you at a different level. They cannot take you for granted because you have grown into someone who knows what they bring to the table and what they deserve in return. The process of becoming more aligned with your true self doesn't just improve your relationship with others, it improves your relationship with yourself. It's a shift from seeking external validation to nurturing internal confidence and self-love. When you have worked on your personal growth and development, you begin to attract people who resonate with that level of self-respect and growth. They see you as someone who stands firm in their own truth, who knows their worth, and who has cultivated the ability to stand on their own. This creates a different kind of attraction, one that's rooted in mutual respect, admiration, and alignment with each other's personal journeys. Therefore, when someone returns after seeing the shift in your energy, it is because they are drawn to your inner strength, emotional growth, and self-awareness. They are no longer coming back to the person they left behind, but to someone who is stronger, more confident, and more in tune with their own purpose. And that magnetic energy you've cultivated is what has brought them back, because it's not about needing them to complete you, but about them being attracted to the person you've become through your own personal journey. When someone returns after leaving, it's a moment that often carries with it a sense of mixed emotions. There may be a feeling of relief, excitement, or even hope that the relationship will return to what it once was. But in reality, the true question that arises when they come back is not about the past or what they're offering. It's about what you are offering to yourself and how you have evolved during the time apart. The choice to accept someone back into your life should not be a decision made out of longing or fear of being alone, but rather a decision rooted in self-awareness, emotional maturity, and a strong sense of self-worth. During the time they were gone, you had the opportunity to focus on your own growth, your personal goals, and your emotional well-being. This time allowed you to reclaim your power, to reconnect with who you are outside of the relationship. And as you've done the work to grow and evolve, the most important thing to realize is that your worth is no longer contingent on someone else's actions or decisions. If they return, it should not be. because they have the power to make you feel whole again. It should be because you have already reached a point where you are whole on your own, and you can now evaluate whether their presence enhances your life or if it brings you back to a dynamic that no longer serves you. Making a decision from a place of strength means recognizing your own growth and acknowledging the value you've cultivated within yourself. If someone returns into your life, it is essential to approach it with the understanding that you are not the same person you were when they left. You have developed a deeper sense of self, gained new insights, and have likely redefined your own boundaries. Their return should not cause you to lose sight of that growth. Instead, it should be viewed as an opportunity to assess whether their presence aligns with the person you've become. Are they contributing positively to your life, or are they pulling you back into old patterns and dynamics that no longer fit who you are today? The choice to accept someone back into your life must come from a place of emotional clarity. When they return, it is crucial to evaluate their motives, their intentions, and the lessons they have learned during the time apart. You must ask yourself, has this person grown in ways that align with the person I've become? Do they respect the boundaries I've set? Are they offering something that adds value to my life, or are they coming back because they are seeking validation, comfort, or a sense of security that they didn't find elsewhere? These are difficult but necessary questions, and answering them requires deep introspection and honesty. If you find that their return is coming from a place of genuine growth, mutual respect, and a desire to contribute positively to your life, then there may be an opportunity for reconciliation. However, if their return is motivated by a sense of neediness, nostalgia, or a desire to revert back to old unhealthy dynamics, it is essential to trust your own sense of self-worth and remain firm in the boundaries you've worked so hard to establish. You've evolved into someone who understands the importance of emotional independence and self-respect. The decision to accept someone back should never feel like a compromise of your growth. It is also important to recognize that the return of someone into your life does not mean you must return to the same patterns of behavior or emotional dependence that existed before. It is easy to fall into old habits and dynamics, especially when emotions run high. But this is where the growth you've undergone becomes crucial. You are not the same person who depended on someone else for validation, approval, or emotional fulfillment. The person who returns is now confronted with a new version of you, one that stands firm in their boundaries and self-worth. And if they truly respect you, they will not push you back into old patterns. They will honor the person you've become. When someone returns, the real question is not whether they have changed, but whether you are in a place where you can accept them into your life without sacrificing the progress you've made. This is why the choice to accept someone back should be made from a place of clarity, strength, and emotional stability. You should never feel as though you are settling for less than what you deserve simply because you fear loneliness or rejection. The relationship you choose to nurture, whether with this person or someone else, should be one where both individuals are able to grow together, contribute positively to each other's lives, and maintain their individual sense of self-worth. The key to making this choice from a place of strength lies in knowing that you are enough on your own. You are not incomplete without this person. You are complete with or without them, and your happiness is not contingent on their presence. So when they return, it's not about them coming back to fix what was broken or to complete you. It is about you recognizing whether their return will add to the strength and joy you've already cultivated in your life, or whether it will disrupt the peace and progress you've worked so hard to build. Ultimately, the choice is yours. You have the power to decide what is best for you based on where you are in your journey and the life you've built for yourself. You are no longer dependent on anyone else to make you feel worthy, loved, or complete. The decision to allow someone back into your life should be made from a place of strength, self-love, and clarity, not out of fear or longing. Trust yourself in the work you've done on yourself. Trust that you know what you need and that your worth is never defined by anyone else's return or absence. In conclusion, when someone leaves and later returns, it's not just about the relationship, it's about the growth, clarity, and emotional strength that you have cultivated during the time apart. The decision to welcome someone back into your life should never be made from a place of desperation, insecurity, or fear of being alone. Instead, it should come from a space where you are already whole, already strong, and already confident in who you are. When you focus on your own growth and self-awareness, you create the foundation for a healthier, more balanced relationship, whether that involves them returning or not. If they come back, it's important to evaluate the situation with a clear mind, assessing whether their return supports the person you have become and the life you have built. Always remember that your worth isn't tied to anyone's return. It's defined by the strength, self-respect, and love you have for yourself. The right relationships will enhance your life and support your growth, but never at the expense of your own self-value. Thank you all for taking the time to listen, reflect, and grow. together. I truly appreciate your attention, openness, and willingness to explore these ideas with me. Keep nurturing your inner strength, and remember that the most important relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. Stay true to who you are, trust your journey, and never forget that you are enough always. Thank you.